All right, we're back with another overtime episode number 22. This week, back in the Texas Chainsaw franchise with Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning from 2006, which is the prequel to the reboot from 2003. Off camera, we were talking about how, oddly enough, this is probably one of the first Texas Chainsaw Massacres me or Tyler ever watched. Which,
Actually, I think the Jessica Biel one was my first.
yeah,
Now that I'm thinking, but
I
this one is the first one that like really sunk into my head.
yeah, I honestly think that this one was the first Texas Chainsaw I ever saw as a kid. But which sucks because you might disagree with me on this, Tyler. But I think this might be in contention for the worst one so far for me. Uh, the only one it could is three, and three I don't necessarily think is a bad movie. Just nothing like memorable is in it. So in honor of three, I'm gonna give this movie a three. Uh, and it's a shame.
In honor of the movie you didn't like, you're gonna give this movie a ranking based on that movie.
Yeah,
Gotcha. That's crystal clear.
yeah, man. So, what are your thoughts on this one?
Um, the problem with this movie, and well, just when we do these, right,
Uh huh.
is that like I'm basing this against all the other chainsaw movies, right?
Yeah.
Or Leatherface or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
Texas, whatever you want to refer to these as. Like based on that, I'm gonna give this one like a solid five.
Yeah.
But like, well, no, based on normal horror, I would give this a five or a six. Based on like the Leatherface, universe,
Uh huh.
I would go a little bit lower. Like a four or a three. I actually didn't like Leatherface in this.
No, yeah, I didn't like him either.
There was no personality or nothing. Like, but anyway, we'll get into that. But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, like, but this one, surprisingly enough, had a few jump scares in it. And that's the only reason why I ranked it
Yeah.
higher in the normal horror universe than I did the other thing.
Mm-hmm.
This also has a little spoiler, not spoiler, but a little hook. One of the most strangely erotic, intense moments for me that just blew my mind, and now I'm in all kinds of weird kink shit. So hey, there's that. So, but I'll talk about that
All
later.
right.
Stay
Yeah.
tuned.
Because in my mind, I'm thinking of one part, but I don't think it's the part you're thinking. but But anyway, so spoiler warning for Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning. If you've never seen it, we're gonna ruin everything about it. So, you've been warned. Uh, First off, can I just say how hard it is to take Beecher seriously as a tough biker after seeing him in Oz
You
for this many years? Like,
do you think he had a bodysuit on to make him look
to
bigger?
make him, he looked huge in this movie, right?
Like he
Like,
was the same size as Leatherface. Like they went head to head.
yeah,
And in most things, Leatherface is this brute who just doesn't take
yeah.
nothing from nobody.
Which I seem to remember in Oz, he was one of the smaller guys. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
so I don't know, but yeah, it was just so weird seeing him as like because the only I forgot he was in this, and then he's in that other movie, with that guy who was hunting him down to kill him and stuff that you made me watch.
I made you watch.
Yeah,
No One Lives.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, he's in that, but he doesn't look like he looks like Beecher still, you
Yeah.
know.
This one, like, he had the big wig and everything else
Uh
on
huh.
it,
Yeah,
and it's like, yikes.
but well, first off, yeah. Speaking of biker Beecher, let's talk about one of my favorite parts of the movie, which is after his biker girlfriend tries to road rob them, and then the brother like shoots back at her, and then shout out to the only good part of Halloween 2 Rob Zombie is the cow. This hitting the cow. They hit a cow. What's
What's
up?
the difference between jelly and jam? Am I?
Yeah, yeah.
I thought the same thing when that part happened.
Yeah, and and they're like all fucked up and shit, and the girl still comes over to rob them, and then Arlie Ermy pulls up, and she's like, "Play along, right?" She turns around, she's like, "Oh, officer, I'm so glad to see you," and he's like, "I bet you are." And just shoots her with the fucking shotgun, and I was like, "Oh shit!" Yeah, that was great. Like, I'll say we'll get into more about this movie, but for me, Arlie Ermy is probably top three Texas Chainsaw characters.
Oh, I would say he's the top.
Oh yeah,
I mean, don't get me wrong. I know you like Chop Top. I think Dennis Leary, or no, not Dennis Leary. What's his,
Dennis
Dennis
Hopper.
Hopper from was that the third?
No, he was in number two too.
Yeah, yeah. Like he's a little out there with wonky eye too, but I would say he is Arlie Ermy, whatever his name is well, R.I.P. He died like what, last year?
I think
Two
it's
years
been a
ago?
few years at this point. Yeah,
But he is without a doubt like the embodiment of Leatherface, like the
uh-huh.
family, right?
Yeah,
Like
he's good.
so let's go on a tangent for a second.
Okay,
You played Resident Evil 7,
I did.
which no one could ever tell me that wasn't based on Leatherface.
Yeah,
But yeah, I think this guy would be even better than the dad in that, right? Like
yeah.
he's really, I don't know. I like him better than the Sawyer. So it's the Sawyers in the first three, right? The Sawyer
It's
family.
I know it's the Sawyers in the first two. In the third one, I think is when you get your first name change, and there's someone else.
Because this one was something else. I don't remember. Was it
This one in 2003, they're the
Huey?
Hewitts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was got sued or something. Or
No, I don't think they just kept. Yeah, and then three, I don't remember what they were. And then four, they were a different name. And then I think in the next movie, they go back to the Sawyers. Because the next one is a direct sequel to the first Texas Chainsaw movie. But
anyway, I
I'm not
forgot.
sure. Yeah, they switch names all the fucking time.
Oh, you're
But
saying the best character is the top three. Like I said, I think he's probably one of the best.
yeah.
Like you need that strong vocal guy to like counteract a chainsaw wielding maniac who doesn't say much.
Uh huh.
So, but that's just my, I don't know.
Yeah. Now I'm trying to think of who my top three is right now.
Yeah, well, Chop Top's up there,
I mean,
right?
Chop Top's, I think. So off the top of my head, I'm not going to count Leatherface. Because he's like the.
He's the constant or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. It might be for me. It might be McConaughey from four is number one.
He's pretty fucking
Chop
crazy, yeah.
Top is number two, and then Arlie Ermey's at three.
What about fucking Van Helsing? Not Van Helsing. Magneto. What's his name? It's not. He doesn't play Magneto. I don't know why. Why I said Magneto.
I was like, Michael Fassbender was in this movie.
He looks like Michael Fassbender, but he's not. But he's famous. I can't think of the guy's name.
Vigo
Viggo Mortensen.
Mortensen? Oh
Yeah,
no, yeah, no,
Matthew McConaughey kind of took that role and just slayed
yeah,
it. But I guess that's the same role as Lee or Ermy.
yeah. You know, kind of. I kind of feel because I like Drayton Sawyer. Well, I'd say I like Drayton Sawyer in the first one. The second one, he was a little too much for me, which
Yeah,
is
he was.
saying something since I like Chop Top so much. But because in the first one, he was funny without having to try to be funny. The second one, he was really trying. Like, look what your brother did to the door.
Yeah, yeah. Look what
Yeah.
they're so good. Like that first movie is so solid.
Uh huh.
Like all the no-name actors. And, well, anyways,
Yeah. Anyways, so movie kicks off in 1939, where this lady is working at a meat shop. I think it was still like the butcher shop, right? Or was
yeah,
it something?
Slaughterhouse.
Yeah, not the butcher shop. And next thing you know, she like keels over and starts praying and shit, and she starts giving birth to this fucking baby. And you get like a glimpse of the baby coming out with like his skin's all weird or whatever. And she dies, R.I.P. that lady. And so then her boss just takes the baby and throws it out into the trash. And then Luda May Hewitt, the mother of the family, is just picking through garbage, I'm assuming for shit to eat. And she finds him, and she's like, "Look how beautiful!" And then it goes back to the house, and Arlie Irvy's like, "That's the ugliest baby I ever done
I've ever
seen."
seen. So good, right? He's just in shadow. You don't even really
Yeah,
see him. And she's like, "Isn't he beautiful? That's the ugliest goddamn thing I've ever seen." I
yeah,
was like, "Fuck yes!"
yeah.
Like,
And so I like that intro, and then it goes into the credits. And Tyler, for me, this might be the worst opening credits these movies have ever
so
had.
bad, so bad.
Like, it was terrible. I was
I
like,
was
come on.
to set the scene. I was eating my leftover Chinese food, and it was General Tso's chicken.
Uh huh.
And I had way more chicken than I had rice, so I like mixed it all up.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there eating this big bowl of just red, and then I'm watching this, and they're just slaughtering. There's blood and everything. And I'm just like, this chicken tastes funny. But
So,
it was really bad. This is a spoiler, but the originals opened with that old guy in 1939.
yeah.
And I was watching this, and I was like, man, I didn't think I'd ever miss that,
Uh
or
huh.
just, obviously I did. And then at the very end of this, it does it, and
Yeah.
I'll go, and I went, oh, okay, well, I don't really miss it at all, but like,
Yeah. Um, and so that was the opening, and then the rest of the movie takes place in 1969. So Leatherface is a 30-year-old in this movie. If we get some age on him. So then, how old would that make him? Because the first movie takes place in 74. Oh, I guess he would just be
35.
35. Yeah, I don't know why I was like, this is a math question. Hold on, there's dogs scratching on the
Oh,
door. You
I thought you
talk
were getting
about
your
something.
phone to use the calculator,
Yeah, to find out. The dog, I opened the door for him, and then he just ran down the hall and looked at me.
This is usually when I talk shit about Tom, but he left his headphones in, so
Yeah.
I can't.
Anyway. But, yeah, so, also, shout out to one of the earliest podcasts and one of the most successful ones. I think it's number 2 in views. The preppy girl from The Faculty is in this movie, playing the boyfriend of the guy, of the older brother. So, shout out
Okay, you
to
said boyfriend, but I'm sure you meant girlfriend.
no. Yeah.
I gotta say,
Okay.
Jessica Biel is amazingly hot, right? I don't shy away from how enamored I am by her.
Uh huh.
Both these ladies are really attractive. Like usually you have like an okay one, and then you have like kind of a trashy one or whatever.
Yeah.
But both these girls were top notch, man. I was like, hey, I was like, good, and they're both like I think serious actors. So it's not like they were just like, hey, we found an attractive woman.
Yeah.
They got like legit people.
I did see that the lady from The Faculty is married to the producer of this movie and the
Oh,
producer of The Faculty, and
she's
so
still good. Like I
yeah.
wouldn't. She did all right in this movie.
No, I just saw that. I was like, oh. But
It sounds like you're
also,
throwing a little bit of shade.
like, I'm not gonna disagree with you. They're both very attractive women. But with them and with Jessica Biel, was the mid 2000s just the era of these women with no asses that they were like, look at,
Yes,
like,
like
yeah,
the
Paris
big butt
Hilton,
phase
like,
didn't start until I don't know, like J Lo late in her career. So you're talking like 2010,
yeah.
2012.
It was just, like they do that shot where they always try to recreate it of the girl's butt in the house and walking up, and they do it with the faculty girl in this movie, and I was like, what? There's nothing there to show. Like, but
How dare you?
anyway, sorry if she's listening to this.
What a pig.
Yeah, but they have this weird sort of side story going on with the both these brothers got drafted to Vietnam, and and the older brother is all for it. He's doing like Rambo shit in the pool, which is
That was pretty
weird
funny.
because I don't think Rambo would come out at that point. But uh, and then the little brother is planning to go to Mexico and dodge the draft, uh, which he hasn't told his older brother this. So he's waiting to. He never does tell him. The older
No,
brother finds his draft card that's burnt, and he's like,
no,
"What?"
no.
Or no,
Like
yeah, never mind. He burns it in front of him. Go ahead.
he's like, no, he's in the back seat, hiding behind his seat, like burning it. And I was
Yeah,
like, what? Why? You didn't think you'd have this conversation? He's like, oh
yeah.
no, he found out. So
So, yeah. So they do that, and there's no there's no real point to it. The only point is there is a good line because eventually we'll get into it some more. But Arlie Ermy is he's in the middle of torturing him or whatever, and he's like, it's a good thing you didn't go to Vietnam. You'd hate for something like this to end up happening. And it was like, oh shit, you know? Yeah, but also this movie explains how Arlie Ermy became the sheriff of this town, which is simple. He just murdered the ship. Well, because okay, Leatherface works at this butcher or the slaughterhouse, and then they're shutting the slaughterhouse down, and this makes Leatherface very unhappy. So he returns later that day, and he murders the boss of the slaughterhouse. So
does the one guy get away?
yeah, I don't think he kills the one guy that's like, "You big ugly animal" or something.
Although he's like, I have to tell him.
Yeah,
And he gets all nervous and stuff.
yeah, I think he's all right. But so yeah, he kills him, and then homie. Speaking of Rob Zombie Halloween, even though he was the cop in the first Halloween that comes to get Michael, and he's like, look at this fucker's all this mass hanging everywhere, and he was the guy in Devil's Rejects that was part of the family. He's in The Walking Dead, but he's in all these movies. But he's the sheriff in this movie, and he's like, also we're prime 2000s here, where don't get mad at me, everybody, okay? Where they're just calling Leatherface like retard and faggot like the whole movie, and it's like, oh, you know,
And then on special occasions, they combine them.
yeah, on special fuck. But yeah, so he's like, your nephew. They call him his nephew for some reason, which is weird.
Well, because they knew that the lady wasn't pregnant, so they
Yeah.
had to think of a reason.
Oh yeah, yeah.
How they got the kid or whatever.
So he's like, your nephew killed what's his face down at the slaughterhouse. We gotta
Oh, he did
go.
not say nephew. He
Well,
said,
no, yeah, we already been over with it. Yeah. So he goes and he takes him to help get the guy, and then he gets out when they see Leatherface walking down the road, and he's like, "Hey, get over here," you know. And then Arlie Ermy gets out and fucking shoots him. Oh, I take there. I do have to say, because like we said, the guy's like, "Hey, we have to go get your retard nephew."
man.
And then Arlie Ermy goes, "He ain't retarded. He's just misunderstood."
It sounds like because Arlie or whatever,
uh,
he doesn't seem like he cares about anything. But when the dude calls him retarded or whatever, we gotta get you retarded, cause like in the car or whatever, you can see his hand twitches.
yeah.
Right? And like it seems like he's the only thing he cares about, right?
Yeah,
Like
there's a point we'll get to later on that I really like in this movie that has to do with that. But yeah, so Arlie Ermy, he shoots the sheriff, kills him, and then he goes, "Shit, I just killed the whole fucking sheriff's department." And he takes the uniform and he goes home, and there's this whole changing where he's changing the mirror into the sheriff outfit, and then he makes his whole big speech at the table where he's like, "We're never gonna starve again. We're gonna start with the sheriff." And I guess this is supposed to be the first time they've ever like resorted to cannibalism. You get the mom next to him is like, "Oh, Charlie or whatever his name is, and you think she's gonna object. She's like, say grace first, you know?
Yeah.
And it was like,
Yeah,
oh shit.
it's really well done because they're like, you think that she's gonna be like, we can't do that. That's disgusting.
Uh,
But like, no, she's just like, hey, mind your manners or whatever.
yeah. Um, but oh, his name actually was Charlie. Shout out, nice job,
Hey,
Thomas. You got it right. But anyway,
well, you know,
yeah. So, but yeah, so biker girl tries to rob him. We've been over what happened to her. Arlie Ermy then sees the burnt draft card on the ground, and he's like, "Which one of you fuckers tried to, Also, he doesn't really talk with a southern accent, but that's what you're gonna get for the whole podcast. Whenever
hey,
I,
it's not our southern. It's like, okay,
yeah,
so we have the way we talk, and you say y'all and howdy and everything. He has more of like that deep South Texan accent.
uh,
It's not like a cowboy. It's just more of a
yeah.
whatever. Anyways.
And so he's like, "Which one of you is trying to dodge the, or whatever?" And the older brother takes the rap for it, and so. Which I think from the very beginning, Arlie Ermy could smell bullshit. He was like, So, also, the older brother's girlfriend had flown into, like, the grass across the street somehow. So she isn't involved in any of this. Goddamn.
Completely unharmed.
Completely unharmed, yeah. I think she had, like, a scratch or something.
She
But,
flew out of the window, landed on the other side of the road after this car flipped, twice?
yeah.
And hit a cow.
And she was in the front seat when it hit a cow.
Yeah, completely fine. Completely fine.
Yeah. Which, keep in mind,
It's
to the
crazy.
other scene of those guys hitting the cow, where fucking the one dude's dead, the other dude's like, fuck. You know?
And that was in like I don't know if that was a modern car or not. I don't remember if they did. It had to be modern day, right?
I think it was, yeah.
So modern day vehicle versus, well, I guess it's all metal back then. I
Yeah.
don't know.
So anyway, so Arlie Ermy takes the two brothers and the younger brother's girlfriend, who she's pretty bad off. She's got like a piece of glass sticking in her stomach and shit. And so he goes and he gets Leatherface to come over and like pick them up and put them like strung up on these rods. Which you have a scene where the lady's like, "What is that?" And I feel like if I ever saw Leatherface, like I wouldn't, like I'd just be like, "Man, that's a big dude," Like I wouldn't be, "What is that?" But you know what? Also, Leatherface is wearing sort of a mankind mask to begin with. Like,
Okay, I was gonna bring this up.
yeah,
Do you think Kane and Mankind ruined Leatherface's whole mask thing? Because now, whenever you see it, my mind automatically goes to the original Leatherface mask.
uh huh.
Pretty Woman, I think is what they call it. I don't.
The
The other one,
Pretty Woman
the
is the
woman.
one where after during dinner.
Yeah. So it goes OG, Pretty Woman, and then I automatically go Mankind and Kane, and like those are the four masks, right? And
Yeah.
then like this one, like you said, it looked like a mixture between Mankind and Kane, right?
Uh
So
huh.
Kane's, full face or whatever. But,
Yeah.
and I was just like, oh, they just ripped off it, and I don't know what was 2003. This movie came
Oh
out
six.
or six. Well, I'm sure Mankind made his appearance when,
96 or some shit.
so it could be just a straight up rip
Could
off
be.
of it. Then
But yeah, he's wearing this mankind mask to begin with, and then so he has him strung up in the barn, and then you get another great Arlie Ermy scene where he comes over and he's spraying them with water, and he's like, "My daddy always said you had to keep the cattle clean. A clean goat is a happy goat. Are you happy yet?" He's spraying them down, and I was like, "Oh shit." So then after this, coming up is the part that I was wondering if this is what your kink thing was, where Arlie Ermy, to get to what he knows is the truth, he wraps a thing of cellophane wrap around the older brother's head so he can't breathe. And he's like, "Come on, your brother's suffocating, And then finally the little brother's like, I'm the one that burnt my draft card, And he's like, "Oh, good." And then he stabs a hole like through the thing so he can breathe, but he also like cuts his lip and shit, so he's like bleeding. And I was like, "Oh, was that the kink? The
no,
suffocation?"
no, not at all. Jesus Christ.
Which, Yeah, some people like that suffocating stuff.
Hey, yeah, I mean, apparently you do. Yeah,
Yeah, man. Uh,
but no.
but yeah, so also, what was it? Oh, also, as I was watching, I was like, I bet you this shit's real. Totally is real. That was real cellophane rap, which, from what, let's see. Yeah, it's real. Arlie Ermy said that he was very concerned, so they left a small gap opening at the bottom of Matt's chin for him to breathe, but it didn't help much. So, whenever he was having trouble breathing, he would knock his knees together and they would stop the scene.
It's
So,
like, and we got it over 73 takes later.
yeah.
We got
You know? But, yeah, so homie finds out that it's the little brother, doing all this shit. And so, I can't remember. I think it's right away after that. He, like, takes the little brother down and starts beating on him. Also, he has a line where he's like, I was in Korea. We didn't have no rules like y'all do nowadays, you know? And I was like, to be fair, Korea is probably the war that we got taught the least about in school. But I was like, you're talking about fucking Vietnam, isn't it? That it's like the most wild
predates it.
west, like.
Yeah, I thought Korea happened after Vietnam.
No,
Because, like,
Korea's like 50s. Vietnam's the 60s or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, it's a very weird war. Like, you don't hear a lot about it. Like, I think it's one of those that we didn't really win, but you can't say that, you know?
how dare you?
Yeah, it's a
I
very.
mean, we just literally pulled out of Afghanistan and it went to hell. But okay, like,
Yeah. Yeah, it's like Vietnam. It was a choice to leave Vietnam. It's like, okay,
yeah,
let's see how it is. But anyway, yeah, and so he starts fucking beating on him and shit. Um, and then at this point, I also remembered because the older brother's like, "I'm gonna fucking kill you," you know. And so at this point, I remembered, oh yeah, this is a prequel, so all these fucks are gonna die. Like I had totally forgotten. I was just watching a movie, like, okay, they're gonna get out, you know. And I was like, oh yeah, no, that's not gonna happen. Uh, and so he's beating them up, and the scene is all right, but then I think they ruin it, and I might be in the minority here because I think I read that the director, it's one of his favorite parts of the movie, but I hated it, which is Luda May Hewitt singing the Mockingbird song to the girlfriend as they watch out the window. Because she sings the whole song. She's like, "Mama's gonna buy you a diamond ring,"
yeah,
and I
yeah.
was like, okay, I didn't need that. So, but yeah. So then Arlie Ermey's like, "Hey, you do 10 push-ups, I'll let you leave." And the whole time he's
I would have
like,
been like, just kill me. Just kill me.
"Yeah, it's game over."
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I'm setting the bar so high that I can't possibly.
yeah. So the whole time he's doing it, Arlie Ermey's just like kicking him in the ribs and shit. There's one part where he's like, "That's just half one boy. That don't count." And
Well, you're glossing over that. It's when you find out that that's where they turn cannibal.
yeah,
Right?
I'm sorry. Yeah, Korea. That's when you get the bat where he's like, we'd be starving, so someone who's too weak, we'd end up eating them. And I guess that's where, Arlie Ermey learned about his kill the weak for food or whatever.
You ready for me to go on a tangent here?
Okay, go ahead, Tyler.
So, if you go to the grocery store and you look at the meat, right?
Uh huh.
Be it red, beef, pork, chicken, whatever, and you see the meat and it looks whatever, and you throw it on a grill and then it looks delicious, right?
Yeah.
Well, like I do a lot of hunting of deer and fish and everything else, but I can't believe that every time they show you like them eating human,
That it would look that bad.
then it looks that gross. Like you can figure you could just get a steak and grill it up, and it'd probably even look tasty.
Listen, I'm sure that we're going down a weird road. I'm sure the human meat is probably very fine. Like like if you gave me a nice little human steak or whatever, I'd probably be like, mm-mm.
Every time in these things, they show like this disgusting, like rotten scene with shit everywhere and
Yeah,
like food you wouldn't touch with like a 10-foot pole or whatever.
yeah,
But like, I'm like, you could just put that in a grinder, and make some burgers. Like, no one would even know you'd be. But no, they got to eat stew. It's
yeah,
900 degrees there. It's Texas in the summer, and they're eating soup.
yeah.
So I
I agree.
just
Yeah, I agree with you.
because they serve up the sheriff in the beginning, and
Uh,
it's slop in a pot, and I'm like,
yeah,
why? Like, this seems like so much more work than just cooking it,
yeah.
you know?
Which I think in the second one, I remember because the first one we
Well, the
talked
first one
about it.
even,
We
yeah.
they never really say cannibalism, but through it you realize what it is, and you get it's just meat like over a fire, you know, like it to the point where I think the guy bought some at the shop in the first one. He bought like the little pork sticks or whatever, and you were like, oh no, you know. But and then the second one they were making chili, and you do get that one scene where the girl like bites
Fingernail.
a fingernail. Yeah.
I like how you looked at your own hand like you didn't know what was going on there.
Yeah. Well, I couldn't remember if it was a finger or if it was just the nail, and that was But
I don't
anyway,
remember.
yeah. So the first two they look all right, but yeah, from that point on, even though in the third one and the fourth one I can't remember much cannibalism, and then this movie is bringing it back to cannibalism.
The I don't know. In the first two, they had it in barbecue and like
Yeah. Yeah.
and stuff like that, and it was totally believable.
Uh
It was
huh.
like, okay,
And
like no
everyone loved
problem.
it.
Yeah, he won awards for it,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So it was just like okay, and then now it's like a big deal or
Yeah.
whatever. But like I said, I understand it adds to like the aesthetic,
Uh
right?
huh.
But I don't know. I think that it's about time that cannibals get their day in the light.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not all of them are disgusting, to people, whatever.
Yeah. Some of
Your
them.
neighbors right now could be a cannibal, and you wouldn't even know.
Right. Yeah.
Was it Pain and Gain where they're grilling up humans, and they're like, "That smells good"? Doesn't The Rock kill somebody, and he's like grilling them up in the backyard?
Oh, I think it might be that movie. Yeah.
I've never seen it, so
I
I
know.
think
I have weirdly enough, and I really like it, but I can't. I that sounds familiar what you're talking about, but I completely forgot about that.
yeah, he's like grilling, and he's like, "What you grilling?" He's like, it is what it
Yeah.
is."
But anyway, so the guy ends up doing the 10 push-ups, but then Arlie Army just like stomps him out and kicks him in the back and shit. And he's like, he ain't gonna be going nowhere for a while, you know. Uh, so after that, the older brother eventually gets off of his shit, and he goes running in through uh, the door. And the teacup lady from the first one that I told you was going to be back is back in this one. And he wedges her up against the door so Arlie Ermy can't get in. And he's got the table and shit. Meanwhile, as this is happening, the little brother's girlfriend is got out and she's in a truck and driving away. But then Leatherface somehow runs down this bitch and like meat hooks her out of the truck and gets her out. The little brother's running off, and then he ends up getting into a bear trap or whatever.
You
Uh,
know that happens.
yeah. And then
So this is like
what
the
happened
first
to
one
the
they've
older
done,
brother, by the
right?
way?
Um,
Because he went running in and wedged her against the door. What happened to him? Because he gets
he
taken.
spends he pushes the girl or yeah, because remember he cuts loose the girl under the table,
Yeah.
and he tells her to run, and the dude's come with a shotgun, and he turns to face him with a knife,
Yeah.
and he was like, "Come on, buddy, you chicken shit, you ain't been in no war."
Uh-huh.
And he looks away for like a second, and then Arlie Ermy hits him with the
That's
pistol
right.
or
Yeah.
the shotgun, and he was like, "I ain't done playing with you yet."
Yeah. So,
Which surprised he didn't just murder him right then
yeah.
and there.
So, their escape didn't work out too good. Meanwhile, before all of this happened, the girlfriend sees Beecher driving down the road, and she like stops him, and she's like, the guy he took your girlfriend or whatever." And so Beecher opens up his saddlebag and pulls out his fucking pistol, and he's like, "Show me where they are," you know. And so eventually Beecher shows up. He walks in, and the dude from the last movie who was in a wheelchair, who still has his legs in this movie, he's like, "What the fuck?" And he turns around, and Beecher just come. It's a cool shot of Beecher just stepping around the door, and then he shoots the guy in the leg. I'm not sure exactly. I guess he wanted to get information out of him. That's why he just shot him in the leg and didn't kill him. But he shoots him in the leg, and he's like, "Tell me where the girl is," you know. And then Arlie Ermy comes in. He's like, "What the fuck did you do now, Lester, or whatever that guy's name was," you know. And then he sees Beecher, and he's like, "Oh shit!" And so Beecher like starts beating on him, and he's like, "Tell me where the girl is." And so he shows him, but it's the blonde head, the little girl, the little bro's girlfriend. And he's like, "Not her." And then Arlie Ermey's like, "Oh, you don't want to see the other one, you know, because we've seen her earlier on, and she's missing a leg. She's all chopped up, hanging up, you know." And so then Leatherface ends up running in during all this, and him and Beecher get into a fight. Leatherface loses his saw, but then he punches Beecher, and Beecher falls onto his saw. And so then Arlie Ermy holds him down on it, and he's like, "Come on, come on, Tommy, get him. These are one of the assholes who picked on you in school." And so Leatherface revs up his chainsaw and fucking saws all the way through Beecher's chest, which, to be fair, is probably one of the better deaths out of all these movies. Because,
Do you think all the movies or just this one?
I would say all of them. I mean, I can't, like, I think this is the first movie where you actually see Leatherface saw through someone.
I I'm gonna say that death is good, but I think the death later on, when the little brother gets it, is bad to where it like cancels out the good. That
Oh,
makes
yeah.
sense. Like, but that's just because I'm a normal human. And
Yeah.
I can't disbelieve. I can't
Yeah.
not believe something. So
So, yeah, so Beecher, he's dead. R.I.P. Beecher. Fucking the boyfriend we see then is chained up to a bed in the basement, which somehow faculty girl had snuck her way down there and sees him, and she's like, "Come on, I'm gonna get you out of here." And she tries to like take a
what a gruesome
screwdriver.
scene. That whole scene is like oof.
Yeah, and but it doesn't work. So then they hear Leatherface coming, and she goes and hides. Uh, and Leatherface comes in and just saws through the boyfriend through the middle of his gut. So the boyfriend's dead, and then we see Leatherface do a full like he's cutting around the face, and he fucking peels the shit off, and you see like the guy's skull and shit underneath, or and Leatherface makes his first human face mask, and Arlie Ermey's like, "I like your face," you know. But so what did you want to talk about with that death?
I just thought it was gruesome.
Oh yeah,
Because he's laying there and you can see like he had done stripped all the meat off his arms.
yeah. And the guy's like, "I can't feel anything."
Yeah, it was real gruesome because he was sitting there and you're like seeing it, and
Uh huh.
you have to imagine that you would just die from blood loss, right? Like or pass out long before that.
Yeah, I don't know. I would imagine that these guys now know how to like keep them alive.
Well, I don't. That's the another question is like how in what chain are these guys? Like, are these the first victims or halfway through?
Who knows if this is the
Because
first time they do it or what?
you don't have like the parking lot of cars. You don't have
Do
the
they not?
collection
I thought
point
there was
stuff.
one shot of the cars again in this
I thought it
movie.
was like three or four. I didn't
Okay,
think there was a bunch,
so they might still be early on, but
but do you feel sorry for the tow truck driver in this?
well, that's what I'm gonna get to because the next scene. So I promised you, Tyler, that in the next movie you would learn how that guy lost his legs, and I said it was pretty funny. At least to me, it is. Which is Arlie Ermy tells Leatherface, he's like, "Listen, he was shot in the leg. You gotta take it off, surgery." And they're like, "What?" And so Leatherface goes sawing through his leg. But then he hits the other side, and Arlie Ermy is like, "Oh, look at that shit. That's gonna get infected. Go ahead, even them up." so, so this guy goes from just to now he's a double amputee, and Leatherface cuts off both of his legs, and that's how that guy wound up in the wheelchair.
One of my favorite parts of this whole movie is the old lady's like, "Hold him down, Ma." She goes, "Why? Because he ain't gonna like this, that."
yeah,
I was like, "Yeah, okay,
yeah,
sounds
but
good."
so they double amputee him. They end up catching faculty girl walking around. So then we get to cut to once again another Texas Chainsaw dinner
How
scene.
do they catch her? She's just running out, and he's standing in front of
He's
the door.
standing there, yeah, and
Yeah.
well, at first she was gonna leave, but then she heard the blonde girl screaming or whatever, so she went back in to save her. And I think she only goes into like one room, and then Arlie Ermey's like, "Welcome to dinner" or whatever. Uh, But yeah, so then we cut to a dinner scene. Blonde head girlfriend immediately just gets her throat cut, so she's dead. Um, the little brother is laying there; he's all unconscious and shit. Uh, and then I don't remember exactly how faculty girl gets free, but she breaks out and she goes running again. Uh, And then this is the part I was talking about earlier because then they're like, "Oh shit!" And without even being told, Leatherface is just booking it, with the saw, and you get a shot where it's legit
Oh,
Arlie Ermy just looking proud as fuck about like he's like, "That's my boy," He doesn't say, and then he's like, it's time for boys to become men" or something. And I really liked how proud that Arlie Ermy was of Leatherface in this movie.
she grabbed a screwdriver off like the counter or something
Uh huh.
when Leatherface, and then she stabs him in the shoulder, the back, or
That's
whatever,
yeah, that's right.
and he goes,
Yeah, that's your only moment of like old school Leatherface where he's like high pitched. Uh yeah, so they go on their chase. Little brother ends up waking up uh during this whole thing and he like beats the fuck out Arlie Ermy on the front porch. Uh we flash to the slaughterhouse. Faculty girl is in a tub of blood and
That's
she's
it. That's the incredibly, for
oh
some
no.
reason, seeing that lady covered in blood, just drenched, and like every light on my dashboard lit up. Like I don't know what happened to me, but I was
I
like,
wish you would have
oof.
said the cellophane. I like.
I don't know why. There was
yeah.
something I don't. I'm gonna do some Google searching when we
Oh
get
no.
done. But
So, Leatherface, it makes it seem like he knows where she is, and he goes to fucking like go down with the saw. Then little brother shows up to distract Leatherface for a second.
oh
But
no, she
he,
jumps out and stabs him in the shoulder or something.
well, yeah, but that's the little brother shows up. And he's like, "Hey!" And then she jumps out and like stabs him.
Oh,
Um, but then little brother doesn't do much. He immediately just gets sawed through by
and
Leather.
picked up.
Yeah, so he's dead. Leather or girl ends up walking out and like finding a car, and she goes taking off down the road, and she's laughing, and there's like a cop up there that has some guy pulled over, and this is when we get. Whenever I think of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, this is the part that I always think of. I mostly because, like we discussed, I think this is the first movie I ever watched. But it's probably my favorite endings out of these movies, which is Leatherface popping up in the back seat and just sawing through this chick as she's driving, and then they fucking hit the cop and the guy, and Leatherface gets out and he goes walking down the road, and that's when you get through the years of this and this, the Sawyer or the Hewitts killed 35 people, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and then that's the end of the movie.
It's a different voice. The original guy died, right?
I don't think so. I think
Because
I think he does the voiceover for the next movie we watch.
like that guy's voice kind of sucked compared to the old dudes. Because the old dudes had like gravelly, he was like, in the year night, I don't know. It's kind of like having the guy from Mass Effect, not Mass Effect. God, what's the other one with the Chainsaw Lancers,
Gears of War.
Gears of War, like that guy Marcus, whatever. He's a voice actor and he does I think all kinds of shit. But
Uh-huh.
like you have that guy like talk something, and then the other one is like I don't know, just a normal voice.
Yeah.
Like you could have done it and it would have been whatever.
Funny enough, I think Marcus is the voice of Arthur in Red Dead 2. So I know that
Maybe
guy does some shit. I think.
is it Arthur or the other one?
No, it's Arthur. Yeah, but
But
because I think John. I think he only voiced John. Like he was after he voiced John, he wasn't doing anything or whatever for like the next, you know. Anyway,
it's a good voice. The guy's kind of a prick, I hear, but
which one, John or Arthur?
Arthur.
Oh, I always see people liking Arthur.
Yeah, but he's one of those guys who, if we're talking about the same guy, apologize if we're not. But like, you go to cons and stuff, and you'll be like with your girl,
Uh
whatever,
huh.
whatever, and he'll be like, "Hey, baby, let's go backstage. Don't bring him like that."
Hey
The
man.
wrestler mentality, you know,
Yeah.
because the wrestlers do it too, right? Like a lot,
Maybe he only did.
unofficially.
Yeah. Anyway, let's do best of, worst of. This is a hard one for me because on the surface, I would say the ending with him sawing through the back of the seat or whatever. But I think I'm gonna change it up, and I think I'm gonna say him blasting homegirl at the beginning with the shotgun was my favorite. Just I'm sure you are. Shoots her through the fucking chest. That was pretty good. I like that. And so my worst of is probably, and we talked about it through all these movies, which is it's Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but Leatherface is not like it's a family of people, you know. But in this movie, I felt like Leatherface like didn't even he maybe gets 10 minutes of screen time combined, and like he's just not Leatherface, which is weird because the same guy that played him in the last movie, and we talked about how the last movie he was probably the scariest Leatherface there was, and in this movie I was like I don't care about this fucking Leatherface at all. So best of shotgun blast, worst of is the Leatherface because he's definitely on the bottom of Leatherface portrayal so far. Tyler, got a best of,
Um,
worst of?
Trying to think. There's a lot of like worst of, right? Like, there's a lot of stuff to do with like, I don't want to say the females, but like the brothers or whatever. Because I feel like in a normal like chainsaw movie, they would have killed one of them right off the bat.
Yeah.
Like the fact that he kept both of them alive for so long, it just was like, okay.
Uh huh.
But like that's just I don't know. I'm trying to think of when like having the hydration lady come by seemed like it served no point at all.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say that the director's favorite part is my least favorite part of this whole movie because she sings
Yeah.
fucking what is it? Twinkle Twinkle. What is it?
Mockingbird. Yeah.
Mockingbird. She sings it twice in
Yeah.
this movie, and I hated it both times. So like, it's one of those take your pick, both times or one.
uh.
But like, I was just like, okay, they're trying to add like sentimental moments, and it's like there's nothing here to be sentimental about.
Yeah.
It's a crazy old lady who's about to eat this bitch, and you're like,
Yeah.
but she's singing. I was like, get out of here.
Uh huh.
Um, but for favorite part, the very very beginning, like I don't think you'd catch it or realize it or notice if you weren't like a weird guy like us. But when he shoots the sheriff and he's bending over to get his badge or whatever, he like sticks his fingers in the blood
Yeah.
and then he licks them off.
Yeah.
And considering they're not cannibals yet, I'm assuming that that was like the show that they're starving, right? The show that they had
Uh
nothing
huh.
and like, times are hard and blah blah blah.
Yeah. But somehow they still have that mansion.
And
Which, to be
somehow
fair, it is in the middle of nowhere. But
I just don't understand how you feed a Leatherface if you don't have food.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
Yeah, yeah. How did he get so big if they didn't have
Yeah.
because muscles take fat to make. It's protein and fat and water. But oh, speaking of big
Speaking
boys,
of big boys, there's the biggest boy. Ruh, 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 ruh.
but
He doesn't like this.
anyways, we need to
Anyway.
talk about the truck driver. I think that guy was the most innocent dude ever. She was like, "Help me!" He's like, "I don't get involved in." Well, I don't know. He had a little rapey face
Oh,
later.
yeah,
The
because
tow truck guy.
like in this movie, they make him. I think because this movie, he seems so like not involved that I think him getting his legs sawed off is what made him such a prick in the next movie. Because now he's like, well, fuck it, I might as well just be. Because part of me thinks the reason he got sawed is because Arlie Ermy was punishing him for not being involved in shit. Because the guy was just like, I don't do, anything. Or it could have just been him being like, fuck you. But I took it as in like, he's it almost seemed like he wanted to help her, but he was like, I don't get involved. And then the next movie, obviously, he's grabbing Jessica Biel's ass, as he's like making her help him up and shit.
Well, no, like there's a scene where he goes upstairs and the girl's tied up under the bed,
Oh,
and he's
yeah.
like, "Rapey, rapey, rapey
Oh,
face,"
I don't remember that one.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't. I wouldn't say I felt bad for him, but I did take it as in like this is what made him extra pricky in in the next movie. But I don't know. The movie had a budget of $16 million.
What?
I don't know what they, but it made a box office of $51 million. So the faculty girl must have been a big star.
Uh,
But
I don't know. That's a lot of money.
yeah. So anyway, and then I don't think we. Oh yeah, we did. Never mind. I was gonna say how the little brother died, but we talked about it. He got sawed through.
Yeah, he, pretty bad.
He really didn't do anything of notice, did he?
No, he hit. I think he hit Leatherface with a cleaver, but like it did nothing.
Yeah.
So I mean, in his mind, he killed Arlie Ermy or whatever. But
Yeah. Which that's weird too, because we know the Arlie Ermey's all right in the next one, but it's weird that they don't go back to him to show him. Also, I wonder if we go back and watch if Arlie Ermey's missing teeth in the
yeah.
first one, because they make it a point of showing him spitting out teeth or whatever in this one. So I wouldn't be surprised if that was what that was, and we go back and watch, and he's like missing his teeth or whatever.
So would you change anything in this movie? Like, what would you change? Because I know one thing I would change, and it wouldn't add anything to anything, but I just think it would make everything a little weird, a little more. You would understand how crazy these folks were.
Yeah.
But it's just me. I would have Arlie Ermy wearing like women's underwear. You know that
Oh,
scene
when
where
he's in the fucking yeah.
yeah, and he's putting on his shirt, and it like it's scans out. He's just wearing normal boxers, guys.
Yeah.
But like, you could have done so much weirder stuff there, right? Like,
Yeah.
have him wear like some weird loincloth or anything. But this guy just killed the
He
sheriff.
did tuck the shirt into his boxers though. That was kind of
Yeah,
weird.
that's what you do to keep it from coming out.
Oh, I never. I would tuck in my shirt at the beginning of school, and then I would untuck it like as soon as I got to class. Or I got to when I was just in senior year, and I would just wear a jacket to have it untucked all the time. And sometimes I just would wear a t-shirt, and
Man,
and wear the jacket.
I think a tucked-in shirt is like the biggest misnomer. Like, okay, when you go to work at certain places,
Uh huh.
they're like, "Tuck your shirt in." It's like, why?
Yeah.
It's like all it's doing is, and there's two things that I hate about working. One is tucking in your shirt. The other one is like, this is gonna sound weird, but like everyone's obsessiveness with pants.
Yeah. Yeah. They want you
Like,
wearing pants for some reason.
it's like, hey, can I wear shorts? Like, no. How dare you? We are a business.
Yeah.
I'm like, millions of motherfuckers wear. Everyone in here working, every shopper's wearing shorts.
Yeah.
I don't think they would
We
complain.
won't divulge where you work, but do they make you tuck in your shirt?
No,
Oh,
no.
okay, that's good. Oh, wow.
Ooh.
Pepsi doesn't make me tuck in my shirt.
I wonder if like you had like a big boss there, if they would be like, "Hey, tuck in your shirt."
Yeah, like if they came in to look at me, if I didn't have it tucked in, they'd be like, tuck it in.
Legitimately, where I work now, there's no dress code. They're like,
Yeah,
show your own style, but then you have to wear that little thingy.
yeah,
So
yeah. Like I'm at the point. Yeah, I'm wearing like my own shorts and shit. I'm not wearing fucking basketball shorts or nothing, but yeah, that was,
I was, I don't know. I have to wear pants here, and I hate it.
yeah.
And I'm like, hey, can I not? They're like, you can go through and fill out a request and all this stuff and medical something. And I was like,
Uh
I'll just wear the pants. Like, I was like, this sounds like too much
huh.
work.
Yeah,
Because as soon as you get like special permission, they're still going to be like, okay, what are you doing? And
yeah.
like,
Wear shorts, but then paint your legs the color of the shorts so they can't tell.
I was thinking about getting compression pants.
Oh yeah,
And it's like, hey, you got to wear pants. Like, I am.
yeah,
Oh, you can't wear those. Well, I'm not really. You can't.
yeah. But
So, nah. Anyway,
anyway, all right. Well, I think that's about it for Texas Chainsaw: The Beginning. Uh, Next up is Texas Chainsaw 3D from 2013, I want to say, which, like I said earlier, is the direct sequel to the first one. Which, when I watched it when I was younger, I really liked it, and then from that point on, I've just heard it's the biggest pile of shit. Uh, and to be fair, watching some scenes in it, I'm like, all right, yeah, I see it. But I think Ray J's in it too, which shout out to Ray J.
hey,
Uh, but it might not be Ray J. It might be another
ooh,
guy
that doesn't look good.
of that caliber. But but yeah, so that's next up, and then after that we only have one more movie, and then we're done with Little Leatherface until they make another one. And then
What are the
we'll
chances of you buying a 3D television so we can just come over and watch this in 3D?
not good.
I'm looking at. I don't think they make them anymore.
I'm sure they're out there.
I'm on Amazon right now looking. I can't.
Yeah.
I mean, the $1,200, but you know,
Hmm.
so I
Now I
don't
gotta
think
see
we really.
if Ray J's in this movie. Oh no, I was wrong. It was Trey Songz. There you go. Oh
Ah,
yeah, I forgot. Texas Chainsaw 3D is the one that Alexandra Daddario or whatever is the lead.
who? Alexander? What?
You know her.
Oh, the name popped up instantly.
Yeah. Funny enough, like besides this, uh, I think the next thing I saw her in was True Detective. She's the one that was banging fucking Woody Harrelson that he was cheating on his wife with.
How do you know this lady?
Cause she's in Baywatch. She's in a whole bunch of shit.
Yeah, I'm looking through the movie she's in, and apparently she was in San Andreas or whatever.
Percy Jackson.
Oh, was she?
Yeah.
Oh, you probably like grew up with this lady.
No,
Not with her, but
but she
I mean,
makes
y'all were.
something grow up.
I hope you're talking about the box office,
Yeah, that's what I'm
Holly.
talking about. Yeah. Anyway, so next time it might be. I was gonna say next time it will be Texas Chainsaw 3D, but it's overtime. Who knows what the next overtime is gonna be? But those are
Wait,
what's.
if I remember right, isn't this the one where it's like a family, but they're younger? Like, what's the one with the girl who's like, "Go get him, cousin"?
That's this one.
So, does that lady play the lady who says that, or
Yeah,
does she play? So, the main character is still the people that are getting hunted, though, right?
yeah,
So, she's like the main villain, kind of.
kind of. I don't want to get into
Okay.
all of it. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Like, I don't think I've seen this one,
yeah.
so that's
So
why you
it
need to
does have
get that
one.
3D TV.
Yeah, it does have one very good scare in it that I remember. That's.
Oh shit! I forgot. I meant to talk about the jump scares in this. This
Oh,
this
okay.
one we just watched was really decent because There was a couple jump scares, and like when he's going to the front of the car and Arlie Army's like hits the window or whatever, he like comes back.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't be fucking up my interior of my car.
Uh-huh.
There was a couple like that to where I was like, ooh, oh, I'm gonna spill my Chinese food.
Oh no.
Nah, I did. Come on, every grain of rice got consumed.
Yeah.
I'm hungry now. So, what's for breakfast?
Oh no. Jimmy Dean turkey sausage
Humans.
bowl. Oh, you. God damn.
Anyways,
All right. Well, let's see. So when this comes out, so Friday coming out is Midnight Meat Train.
Friday.
Look forward to that. Last Friday, Haunt was the episode, so go listen to that one if you haven't already.
Hey, can I tell you just for a second?
Okay.
Compliment your editing skills.
That I'm
And
able to
your
realize.
posting skills. No,
Oh.
the thumbnail you have for Blue whatever
Perfect Blue, yeah.
was perfect.
Yeah, thanks.
It was so good, and I was like, "Fucking Tom's killing it." Like,
Yeah.
but I don't think I ever told you.
Yeah,
you
no.
know? So hey, you're doing a great
I
job.
appreciate it.
So I was gonna send it a text, and I was like, "I'll just tell him next time."
Yeah.
Because it's so much more when someone like gives you a compliment and like
Yeah.
kind of person than it is. Hey, good job. I think I told you I loved you on Discord when I saw it.
I remember that, and you didn't explain what it was.
Yeah, I didn't say anything, right?
Yeah.
Just that's it. Because
Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna wait and tell him.
Yeah.
So,
All right. Well, I appreciate that.
so y'all look for. I mean, watch the video too.
Yeah.
Look for that thumbnail.
The thumbnail. Yeah. All right. So anyway, see you Friday for Midnight Meat Train. See you sometime for another overtime. And
What do we have on deck? We have the last two.
last two Texas. We talked about doing Wrong Turn. We have
like 9 of those.
Yeah, we have. I think there's only 7. We have Puppet Master 4, and what was it? I said I wanted to do the Hatchet movies, which I think there's only 3 of those. But I kind of want to do an overtime of those Fear Street movies.
We can.
Because
we can
there's 3 of those, they're all sort of connected. I was like, we could probably knock those out,
It's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix, yeah. So we might end up doing a Fear Street.
What do you think about doing all 3 at once?
Just doing like one mega podcast, yeah.
Yeah, we call it the well, it'd still be an overtime, but because it's called Fear Street.
Yeah.
We
might that episode, depending on how much there is to talk about those movies, that might beat the Halloween 1 and 2, the Rob Zombie episode. That's like an hour and 48 minutes or whatever.
Can we call it Fear Street on Beer Street, and we're just slamming beers the whole time,
Yeah.
and we talk about all, because it's gonna be like 6 hours a movie. We're talking. I don't know how long they are.
Probably, I would imagine they're probably all 2-hour movies.
I don't know. Maybe we do a special taping somewhere.
Oh yeah.
I'm thinking like table in Maverick's backyard,
Yeah.
right? Somewhere we could drink, be rowdy, and Maverick's not gonna watch
yeah.
hours of movies.
So anyway, something's coming out.
We got y'all. We got you. Something's coming.
And so see you Friday, Midnight Meat Train. That's it. You can leave now.
Yeah. Like we're gonna keep going, but you can.
Yeah, you can walk away before I make you walk away.
Oh,